Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday, and welcome everybody to Adweek Together. It is April 7th. I am Jason Lynch. I am Adweek's TV editor, and I'm excited to be here on the show for the first time and to welcome another first-timer to the program, Stephanie Siegel, who is the editor for Adweek's TVSpy blog. Welcome, Stephanie.
Hey, I hope everybody can see us clearly. It looks fuzzy on my screen. Not just art. If you can't see us, just type Jason a little note there, right? And
but it's great to see everybody today, especially at a new time. You know, we're at noon now instead of 1, so thank you all for tuning in. So Stephanie, before we talk about what you've been working on at TVSpy, I think a lot of Adweek users and people here today aren't even probably aware what TVSpy is, or that it's a part of kind of the Adweek blog network. So talk a little bit about TVSpy and what you've been doing there.
Yeah, I mean, TVSpy is the news about the news, and it's been around for a very long time and incredibly important to local news journalists. You know, we're not talking about necessarily the MSNBC, CNN, Fox News anchors, although I know they read it. This is incredibly important to the people in local news to understand the comings and goings, the big stories, especially now. I think it's become a resource and a place for people to go and see that other folks are really experiencing the same thing as this coronavirus pandemic sort of takes off and uproots everything we know as broadcast journalists in small markets. And ever since I took over a couple of years ago, I think my mission is, because I was a journalist in a local market last in New York City who read and kept up with TVSpy, was to highlight the good things that are happening in local news, the great moves that people are making, the innovative things stations are doing to keep up with the times, you know, the digital space, which I know you guys talk about in Adweek a lot. And now it's just been about making sure we just stay up with the news cycle, which is how this has impacted, you know, newsrooms across the country.
Yeah, so certainly. So you're always, you know, every day at TVSpy, which is you can find at tvspy.com. You know, you're posting several stories a day about items related to what's going on in the local news world. How has your job and what you've covered changed in the last month? the coronavirus pandemic started to spread?
Yeah. I mean, I think for me and for a lot of journalists out there, you feel the sense of energy when you have a big news story, right? That sort of pops up. And as journalists, we thrive on that adrenaline, and it makes us want to push harder, dig deeper for the stories. And what's happened has been just a change in the news cycle, right? I mean, I think what we are seeing is an opportunity to bring to light how hard journalists are working. You know, on a day-to-day, I'm looking for stories, like just unique stories that are happening across the country, how anchors are making an impact, or how a 22-year-old has maybe taken a 100-market jump and is on network, which would have never happened in our world, 5 years ago. But now it's about just helping our world, the people in our world, understand that news can be done from home, that, when you throw a wrench into everything that we know, you take away our studio, you take away our cameras, the ability to go out and use a photographer or interview somebody one-on-one without keeping a safe distance, that it can all get done. I think what we've seen is this has been an incredibly innovative time for journalists. I mean, taxing, right? I mean, it's exhausting. We're considered essential employees. They're working hard every single day and can't turn it off. But that, if you get a good lit ring light, a computer, and some tools at home to make a little small digital studio, you can do everything and keep the news going and keep people informed. I mean, I think production across the board looks kind of right? Because we're doing it out of our newsrooms. But all of a sudden, news anchors are becoming human. It's like we talked about, and we'll talk about later in the show. It's like, we're all moms, we're all dads. And if we're not that, we're young journalists struggling in a small market, trying to get through, and it feels really isolating. And we're just getting it done every day. And I'm just so proud to be part of this.
So you were talking before about all of those local newsers working from home. We're all working from home right now, and I know you and I both have. We're both in houses right now with family. We both have kids. Yours are a little younger than mine, but even the process for us filming this, we both had to kind of barricade ourselves in a room.
Yeah.
This is only for part of our job, but for the people that you're covering, they have to do this all the time. And I know you've been writing a little bit about those moments when kind of working from home has gone bad. So talk a little bit about some of those stories that you've been writing about.
Yeah, I mean, some of them are chuckle-worthy, right? I mean, you just have to laugh about it. It's, the one story, and we can pop it up here. We had a meteorologist who was trying to work from home, and she had her camera rolling to just get one good take. It's like 25 minutes to get a 30-second take or something, because what 3-year-old wants goldfish, or what 5-year-old wants to know where daddy is, or, it's like, pop in, excuse me, I need my tushy wipes, like whatever ridiculous thing. And I thought that this one was pretty funny if we have it. Yeah.
Thanks, Connor. Mommy's trying to do a little bit of work. Can you let me finish my work? Hey, let me open them. Go upstairs so I can finish my work, okay? Hey, I got to record something real quick, okay? No, he's on the phone. Just give me 5, okay? I know, I need 5. He is on a call, okay? You cannot talk to daddy right now. Give me a second, guys, okay? Go upstairs. 3, 2, pulling water rise. Guys, go upstairs with a critical. Connor, give mommy a minute, please. I'll be upstairs in 1 minute. 3.
That was great, and I think we all can relate to that. But the other thing that was interesting to me is, so I feel like, okay, so my kids are a little older.
Right.
I don't necessarily have to have those conversations. However, as you also wrote about, it's not always the kids that you have to worry about walking into frame when you're working from home.
Yeah, it's the parents too, right? I mean, for the young people that don't have enough money, because you make somewhere between 18 and 22,000 in your first job, and maybe you get a job in your hometown, they're still living at home. And so this one dad just had zero disregard for the fact that his daughter might be doing her job, and just rolls in like belly out. And that was a really funny one.
Technology kills viruses in just one. What did you do, Mom?
Take a look at it. I think we have it, right? Yeah. Oh, here we go.
Yep. Yeah. So again, she's a preteen. She's in that "Dad, you're embarrassing me" phase. Anything I do.
Yeah.
I mean, that is actually like, a dad actually embarrassing somebody. So I feel like I need to show her that clip so I can say, see, it could be a lot worse. So in addition to that, as people and whether they're working from home or working in the studio, their jobs have continued even when they don't necessarily have things to report on anymore. So there's not sports going on right now. There's not people who are reporting on traffic. There's maybe not traffic right now. What are those people doing what are those local newsers doing to fill the time on air when there's literally nothing going on their beats?
Yeah, I mean, people have gotten so creative, right? I mean, we're all getting creative from home, just trying to figure out how to kill the time. So we had one traffic anchor who decided to play flute when there were no traffic. There was no traffic to report and barely any cars on the road in Las Vegas. And so he decided to serenade the audience and, said, hey, we'll get through this. And it turns out that he's part of a local flute club. So that was kind of cool. We also have video of, a sportscaster. Like in the sports world, what can you talk about? My partner in my business, he's a sportscaster in Washington, D.C. And so, each day it's kind of a struggle. Like, what is the big news story? And if anything pops, everyone is all over it. It's hard to get innovative. I can't remember that. Pittsburgh? No, Harrisburg. It was a Harrisburg anchor who decided to, and I'm not good with sports, so you might have to help me here, but it was like there was a matchup that was supposed to happen on a Sunday or something, or Saturday, and he decided to put those two teams against each other in a
in NHL video game. Yeah, he basically called that
as game, and I thought that was kind of great.
But we have video of the Vegas traffic anchor who ended up doing a flute recital instead on air. So let's take a look at that.
Now. Alrighty, let's get to those roads and some other talents right now. Nate?
Yeah. So once we all get through this, here's what's going to happen.
And as we're holding this conversation, I'm looking at your LinkedIn Live comments, and somebody mentioned that they were hosting a live interview and their son pulled the broadband cable out. So again, these things that are just happening kind of all the time now. So we've been talking about the kind of the fun, the humorous things that have happened as a result of everybody being kind of upended by the coronavirus, but obviously there are a lot of very tragic things going on as well. And I think as part of this, you have been covering local newsers who have come down, who contracted the coronavirus.
Yeah.
I know there was a Pittsburgh anchor who was actually recovered from it, but what can you tell us about him?
So the Pittsburgh anchor, Ryan Houston, I think that's how you say his last name. I'm thinking Houston because of New York, but Ryan Houston, he came down with it, had really open about it, and that's really been interesting. I like how the talent is sort of open and honest and taking us through their journey. He came down with it, is recovered, is since been back on air. I think went back on air this weekend. In Detroit at WDIV, there was an anchor, a morning anchor there, who also started showing symptoms of the virus March 17th, had really tough 2 weeks, he said. I just did a story this morning. He doesn't even want to say coronavirus, like at all. He doesn't want to mention the name, COVID-19, nothing, because it was such a horrific experience. He couldn't put his child to bed. I was looking for an update this morning. Bill Ritter, who is a big, big name in New York City, evening anchor at WABC, he at first said, I think it was 2 weeks ago, I might be dealing with like a mild case of it. I'm looking it up now. And And I think it ended up hitting him pretty hard. I saw last night that he was starting to sort of feel better, that his fever broke. But, you know, these are personalities that are in people's homes, you know, every day. And so I think folks are just identifying with the pain that they're going through. And it's been, I don't know, I mean, it's been good to see them recover, let's put it that way, but also challenging to see them go through it.
Right. And then I think there have been other reporters you've been writing about who, whether even if they didn't have it, then they have family members who who can. And I think in one case, I think there was a New York reporter whose father has died from COVID-19.
Yeah, a WNBC reporter, and it was really a tough thing to read. You know, I mean, there you go. I mean, you see that story from TVSpy. You know, he is in New York covering it with his wife and I think 3 girls. Obviously couldn't see his father, who's in Indianapolis, and, you know, and then he got sick. And just like those horror stories we're seeing online, you know, you can't be with your loved one during this time. It's really sounds unimaginable, actually. But, you know, I don't know him personally. I know him through friends. And obviously I'm sending my condolences to anybody who's having to deal with this. But it's really impacted our community, just like every other community, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And while there is, every day you are posting news stories related to the coronavirus and everybody, but that is not the only stories that you're writing about at TVSpy. And I think, you know, certainly, you know, if we look back in the last month, I actually think the most popular story on the site in the last month had nothing to do with coronavirus. And instead it was a Boise meteorologist who had some words for a viewer who had comments about how they looked on air. What can you tell us about that one?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think the headline tells the story. It's a lot of back off, mind your own business these days in our world. I mean, even now with Zoom calls, some people have something to say about people's backgrounds, right, in their house, or it doesn't look pretty enough. This Boise meteorologist is pregnant, and she had a bad bra on, right? I mean, it's hard. You're pregnant and your body changes. What can you do? Right. I think that's not new, women being pregnant while they're on TV. What is new, though, is that strangers through social media feel like that they have this outlet to just say whatever they want to say. And journalists, especially females, I know across the country, are basically like, shut the beep up, right? This is my body. I'm doing my job. I am putting myself out there every single day. I'm getting vulnerable to give you, in her case, the weather. So, I'm not shocked that was the most sort of viewed, liked story online. We talked about this together. I mean, these are the stories that get the attention because there's people out there who are like, who would have the nerve to ever say that to a woman, right? I mean, you don't walk up to them on the street and touch their belly and say, "Oh, you look fat today." It just doesn't happen. Right.
Another thing on TVSpy that you write a lot about are kind of the local news clips that end up going viral. And one in the last couple of weeks was a story that had popped up on my feed several times. And that was the Montana reporter whose stand-up at Yellowstone Park went viral.
Can you believe it?
Yeah. And I think for people who may not have seen it, even though again it was in my feed a ton of times, what can you tell us about that one?
Yeah, let's. I think we have the clip. Let's roll that first so people can watch it.
Montana 3. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh no, I ain't messing with you. Oh no.
Words to sort of describe it unless you're in it. You're so alone, you're thinking of a million things, you're on deadline, you're likely in the middle of nowhere. And, you know, for some of these reporters in Montana, and I know that market, they're from, you know, metropolitan areas, cities, you know, things like that. And then they're going to do these stories. And, you know, when you're shooting your own stand-ups, you have to let the camera roll, and then you've got to come back and set your shot, and then you do it a few times. And everybody that's done that before is just cracking up because we know that feeling of like panic. You don't even have time to turn off that camera. You just lift it up and just get out of there. And I think that just made people laugh. It was just a nice moment in a time when there's not a lot of good, funny stuff out there. So, and like you said, it turned into some marketing campaign.
Yeah. And then I think, a lot of people saw that clip, but they didn't necessarily know the next step, which you wrote about, which then it inspired a marketing campaign at Yellowstone's park. What can you say about that?
Yeah. Hold on. Let me see if I can find. I think they ended up putting together posters. I don't know if we have.
We just saw it there. It's a great example of this kind of crazy viral moment, and then Yellowstone capitalizing on that.
I know. I'm wondering if they're going to pay him.
They should, or they should figure something out to do.
I think so. Yeah.
So I think, but before we wrap up today, we've been talking about TVSpy stories, but as the TV editor, there's a couple of things going on in the TV world at Adweek that I wanted to talk about as well. So, so the first thing is we wrote a lot yesterday about the launch of Quibi, which is this new streaming service, short-form streaming service, backed by Jeffrey Katzenberg and Meg Whitman, who used to run Facebook, and it's a mobile-only streaming service. Everything is 10 minutes or less, and we wrote about how this was targeted at on-the-go people, and it's suddenly launching at a time where nobody is on the go. Nobody is commuting anywhere except maybe from one part of your house to the next. So what do you, first off, what does Quibi, are you interested at all in Quibi, and if so, why?
No.
Okay.
I think I've never really been a consumer of that kind of stuff. I mean, I'll go, into like short videos.
Short form,
I haven't. I'm not, and I don't watch that much TV. I will go into a rabbit hole of Instagram live stuff or whatever's on my feed and watch people's stories just because it feels mindless. But I'm not going out of my way to consume that kind of content, mostly because I think I've worked from home for so long. This doesn't feel so different to me. But I'm curious about, I know they're marketing to younger viewers and, like you said, on the go. And the teases, they have a lot of celebs, so it makes you want to watch it. I just wonder, how is that going to change habits, and is that the goal? That's my question.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, the biggest thing is I've been looking at the coverage of it, and the kind of probably the biggest miscalculation that they made is because they wanted this to be mobile only. Yeah. They are not offering an app for this to watch on a TV screen. So if you're on Roku, there's no Roku app, there's no Apple TV app. Right. You also cannot cast. On your phone, sometimes you can cast it to TV, or you can use AirPlay if you have an Apple device. You can't do that here. Literally, the only way you can watch this device is on your phone. And when I'm at home right now, I don't want to watch something on my phone. I've got I have a computer to stream on, or I have a TV that I can stream on. So I think they told my colleague Kelsey Sutton wrote this story, and Meg Whitman told her that they will look at the data over the next couple of days and weeks, and they will adjust accordingly. But if I'm Quibi, I'm rushing connected TV apps into production right now and launching those, because I just don't see how people are gonna just voluntarily choose to just look at their phones at home now when they have.
I mean, the only time I would see that making sense is sometimes when people are in bed at night. It's easier to just kind of scroll through your phone. So I would be curious to know what the data says about the times of day people are watching this. Yeah, but I'm with you.
Yeah, and then the last TV story I will talk about is Modern Family, which tomorrow night is airing its series finale after 11 years on the air. Some Adweek readers may have been at the ABC upfront back in 2009 when the network was so confident about this new series that they aired the entire pilot in its entirety at the upfront event in May. And that's something no network has done since then. And it has you know, it's obviously a huge hit. Won 5 Emmys for Best Comedy in a row. It's been the last broadcaster to win a Best Comedy Emmy. It really feels like, you know, people said this about when Big Bang Theory went off the air last year, but it really does feel like the end of an era right now, because every time Modern Family has been on the air, streaming has exploded. The way that people watch TV has exploded. We don't watch much live TV anymore, especially for entertainment. You know, we watch it kind of on delayed viewing or on our own time frame. And it feels like a show like Modern Family that not only was a huge hit for so many years, but then dominated the Emmys for so many years. And now you really see streaming and cable kind of taking that place. It really seems like there's just not going to be another show like that. Were you a Modern Family fan at all?
We were in the beginning, and then no. I mean, I can't remember the last sitcom I watched. Somebody asked me the other day if I had ever seen This Is Me. I haven't even seen that.
This Is Us?
This Is Us. Sorry, I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
I've been listening to The Greatest Showman like every day at home. Sorry about that. So I didn't even watch that. What I thought was interesting about that show, and I agree with you, I wonder if there's a way to replicate this, is just seeing, especially what's memorable is the children. They have grown up on that show. And, you know, I think for people that were fans of that, that was probably something. And did you watch it? That would be something that I would look forward to. And, you know, I'd be excited about seeing them grow up.
And ABC is still desperate to try to convince the creators to do a spinoff. And they basically say, like, whenever you want, you know, if you do a spinoff, focus on the kids, we'll be there. Right now, the creators have said that's not in the works. The head of ABC, Carrie Burke, told me that another point that she made was that that show really built ABC's comedy brand. You know, it was really the only show ABC had going for it for a while, and they have been able to create this great brand of family comedies around it, Blackish and the Goldbergs, and you know, and so many others. So this is kind of the legacy that show will leave, even if there's not a spinoff, is that you can go Fresh Off the Boat, which just recently ended on ABC, but they've really become the go-to home for family comedies, and that's been great.
So what fills its spot when it's gone?
Well, right away, I mean, ABC will slot other comedies in there, and then they will hope, you know, again, I would normally say they'll look to next season and hope something comes, but now that all production was shut down because of COVID-19, the pilots haven't even been shot yet, so they don't know. They can only hope, and then we'll have to wait for production to resume to see if anything can fill the gap there. All right, well, I think it's about time for us to wrap up. Thank you very much, Stephanie, for joining us. Be sure to check out all her latest stories on TVSpy.com. You can find my TV team's latest reporting on Adweek. Join us tomorrow on Wednesday when Nadine Dietz and Tamara McCleary are going to be talking about the future of marketing. Thanks for watching, everyone. Stay safe and stay healthy.